Forever. Dog.
Warning, the following podcast takes you into the sacred home of a very large mouse. We're going to rifle through all his stuff, sporting equipment, keepsakes, and his freshly grown sentient vegetables. Is this place Mickey's Graceland, or is it not as good as that? It's Mickey's house, today on podcast The Ride.
Welcome to Podcast The Ride, the podcast about theme parks hosted by three very good boys who promise that if they're about to swear in this episode, they will instead stop and say, "Oh, gosh!" I'm Scott Gairdner, joined by Mike Carlson. Do you agree?
Oh, I do agree to that. That seems hard. It seems like I'm going to forget, but maybe I just won't swear. Maybe I'll just be like in my most polite mode, and I just won't swear at all. I may say that in other ways, in other contexts, but we'll see.
It's tough because really, gosh mainly replaces like an exclamation of the F word or another word. It might not like replace effing, but it can. Let's just try to remember to say goshing. Goshing. So goshing angry. It's what Mickey would do. Jason Sheridan joins us as well.
You know what? This might not be a bad idea that we finally address my mother's letters. So, like, why do you gotta curse so much? So, because this could be a good episode to point her to. Like, oh, this one's clean.
This finally won. Yes. Other than this, we did discuss those specific concerns. We talked about swearing, but we didn't swear. I just had a moment finally with my mom, where now that I have a kid, there was the little discussion where I was like, yeah, God, I don't know if he can see like a lot of the stuff I've made. And then I gave her too much because my mom like, see, that's right. Like the thing she's been trying to tell me since she told me that Monsignor Loftus wouldn't like the movie I made in high school. I like, well, now you never thought about that. One day you'd have a child, you'd want to show them something. So I don't know. I gave her too much. I was too generous by even saying that.
Yeah. So, but you did pledge to never make anything other than a G-rated piece of entertainment going forward, I assume.
I mean, I didn't go so far as to say the rating. I mean, I would think that PG-13 would be fine because one day he'll be 13.
Well, but you get one. There's one gosh bomb. PG-13 movies get one gosh bomb, but they cannot be about the act.
It's what G stands for, is gosh.
Yes.
TVG means there'll be no word more extreme than gosh.
I think you could probably go back and make cleaned up versions of everything you've made. Maybe do like a new cut of everything. I assume you have them all on hard drives and really just take out all the cursing and all the suggestive situations.
Yeah, that's true. There's certain ones where almost everything would have to be gotten rid of.
Well, reshoot. I mean, you can reshoot. There's like the Snyder Cut is coming out very soon. The Zack Snyder, and that was, I think he did a little new photography.
That's true.
And a lot of new CGI. So.
Yeah, well, like I'm trying to think of one. My video Juggalo News. I did a video. There was a cable news channel for fans of Insane Clown Posse, and so that's 10 years old. By 10 years from now, the Juggalos and making fun of them will be still unbelievably relevant, and I'm gonna want my son to see that. And even though they swear that, and that's part of the joke, they can't. That's not gonna work for him. So. Yeah, I can round everybody back up, or at least like just film new lips. Just film some face painted lips and drop them on top of the people we can't get anymore.
Yeah, like in when George Lucas redid some of the special editions for Return of the Jedi, he found that woman, the green woman, in Jabba's palace again, and he just put her back in the makeup, and it was like nobody noticed.
I'm going to do that too. I'm going to go into my old videos, get rid of any swearing or sexual content, but also have the green lady And I'll put in that song. That
Jedi rocks.
It's Jedi rocks.
Jedi rocks. Yes, and then Jabba will turn to the camera and go, "We live in a society." And everyone goes, "Yes, yeah."
What's all the "we live in a society" lately? I've been seeing this in the feed a lot.
I don't quite understand. I think it's a meme that got out of control. I think it's like a silly,
Well,
so Mike,
Joker says it in the trailer for the new Justice League.
For the new Justice League, but I
Zack
think
Snyder.
it's a nod to the memes about the Joker.
You're saying where it comes from.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is really a modern Snakes on a Plane where you insert meme culture into the trailer and into the film itself after the fact. The whole movie is kind of a new Snakes on a Plane.
Yes, it's kind of a massive Snakes on a Plane. Yeah.
It's an edgelord meme.
Yeah.
Jason, what's an edgelord?
An edgelord is like someone who is like purposely transgressive or like says something, pushes the boundaries just to do it.
Someone who tries to appear edgy by doing or saying risque or offensive things. That's Scott.
It's me with my videos.
Yeah, that's what Scott is.
With my videos and my mild swears on this podcast.
Yeah, that's what your mom says. Scott, your mom thinks you're an edgelord. Wow.
She says with shame to her friends. She learned the phrase and will say on her book club Zooms, my son, I don't even want to talk about it. He's become an edgelord. My son, the edgelord.
I'm Senior Loftus is saying, that's got to turn into a real edgelord.
But it is now that we must pray for the edgelords the most, that they can find their way back from the edge towards the center where we live. And we say nothing more than gosh. So help us, gosh.
So help us, gosh. Jason is the podcast that rides Messy Boy, and Scott is podcast that rides Edgelord. Wow.
This is one... I like any slightly any 2% controversial opinions I have or mild swears all being put in the bucket of me being the edgelord. My not really caring for the land boat ride, that was really the beginnings of Scott the Edgelord.
Yeah, you're being risque. You're being edgy. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
This is great. This is a great new branding for you going into year whatever we are, 3, 4. How long are we doing this?
It's time for me to clarify the character. The character is edgelord. Is there an example of who else is an edgelord, just so I know who I'm kind of sharing the term with?
Who are edgelords? Let me.
It's usually used dismissively. So, people who don't like Chapo Trap House calls those guys edgelords.
Okay, so it's kind of a mock, but I'm taking the term back. I'm making being an edgelord cool.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's probably associated with some awful people, so we're probably
there's some real
right now,
scumbags.
But you're taking it back for you're on the better side of I assume.
I'm moving the edge. I'm moving the boundaries of the edge to a little bit of a gentler place. But still, I'm on the edge of a slightly less far edge. We talk about me being an edgelord in an episode that's about Mickey Mouse's house.
Mickey Mouse, the original edgelord, telling people to go soak their head fresh, boy. I mean, in the old comic strips. The old Floyd, I always mispronounce it. I think it's Gottfried. The old, daily comic strips, he is always pulling a gun. I mean, back in the day, a gun used to be a lot more like an axe or a screwdriver. They were just kind of sitting around in the tool shed or, in a drawer or something.
Yeah, that was not as big of a deal, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I did not see any firearms in the current iterations of Mickey's House. Mickey's House, Mickey's Country House, or the more generic Meat Mickeys. I've not seen any gun racks.
No, I don't think so. Not even a silly cartoon gun with eyes or something. You see a lot of his belongings, but not that. Not the fun bullets from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. But so he hides it, I guess, if he's got one. He probably has one.
They have a gun in Lonesome Ghosts when they're ghost hunting. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they have a rifle.
Yeah.
A double-barreled shotgun, I think. I can't remember who wields it. Maybe they all have one.
He will in the Old West. In an Old West, but you sort of assume that he'll have a couple revolvers or whatever.
Yeah. There's not really a good gun store in Toontown, if I think about it. That really doesn't have, that's not one of the facades there.
It's got to be, it's like an underground thing. Like one of the stores is a front. Like maybe not the Five and Dime, or maybe the back of the, but like maybe once in a while if they make a mistake, that conveyor belt with all the gloves and all the fun items.
Oh, yeah.
Just like by mistake, once a day, one of the gloves has a gun dangling down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably right. It would be funny. I mean, if they made Toontown, I'm sure in the 60s, for sure there would be more cartoon guns. There'd be no doubt about it.
Cigarettes. Yeah.
It's too modern.
But really odd old-timey condoms. Condoms were weird in the 60s, right?
You'd have to imagine there was, sorry, Jason, your mom can't listen to this.
Uh-oh. That's me. The edgelord strikes again.
Edgelord.
In old movie, I feel like it's always just like in period piece movies, they're always like, oh, what do you need? Are you a sailor? Like there's always jokes about sailors using them.
They were only for sailors?
The only people being risky, going from port to port, having different affairs.
I assumed it was a full body piece of clothing or something that's what it was in the old days. I don't know. I don't have any information. I'm just guessing. It was sort of like a full pajama set you would have to put on.
Some
a
sort
tune
of belt.
Condom would be. What was that?
Some sort of belt. Vault. A diving bell. You're a full diving bell. Mike, are we just thinking of a diving bell?
Possibly a doctor would have to administrate it. Would have to put it on. Yeah.
It's made of copper. There's a bunch of bolts in it.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. It's a whole to do.
Mm-hmm. A cartoon condom would be insane because cartoons are already so bendy and squashy, and that's kind of what a condom does already.
I haven't read much Fritz the Cat, but I assume it's in there. I assume the information is in there if you want to. If you want to read about it, I'm sure they did that.
Fritz the Cat is for sure some exhausting edgelord bullshit. Like,
oh yeah.
That was before edgelords were cool. That was long ago when edgelords were annoying. Before me.
Right. Yes. Well, before you took the term back and made it cool. Yeah, not like the exhausting like Robert Crumb hate Ashbury comic bullshit.
I see. Yeah. Let's explain the episode a little bit in case you don't know. In several of Disney's theme parks, there are opportunities to meet Mickey Mouse, and you do this by going through Mickey Mouse's house. This is, I want to say, Disneyland and Tokyo Disneyland, where it's kind of the same version. It's carbon copies of the same house, and for a long time, you could do this in Disney World. Not anymore. But in a land that changed names 3 times. It was Mickey's Birthday Land. Then they wanted to keep it going past Mickey's birthday, so it became Mickey's Star Land, and then it became Mickey's Toontown Fair. But it's been a staple of parks throughout the years. The ability to go into Mickey's house, the dream we've all had of rifling through Mickey's belongings. Yes,
it was. I'm sure I've said this on the show before. As a kid, we did get to go to Mickey's birthday. What was it called? Mickey's Birthday Fair? No.
Birthday Land.
Birthday Land. Jeez.
Yeah.
Losing my mind. Yeah, we did get to go there in Florida, but when I saw Toontown, I was like, oh, they're all their houses. I want to go through Mickey's stuff. I want to go through his rooms. The idea of it was awesome. And yeah, you got a little taste of it in Florida, but it was didn't seem the same.
Well, technically, did everyone come across the phrase Mickey's Country House?
Yeah.
That this was the naming. Okay, I listeners, please correct me if I'm wrong. But the idea being that once Toontown opened at Disneyland, they started referring to Mickey's house in Florida as Mickey's Country House, as if that is his vacation home, and Toontown and Disneyland is his main house.
Okay. Yes. It's where he vacations. Well, I think that whole Toontown Fair thing came out of that. They wanted to like standardize it, make it more like Toontown, but I think it's because of the tents. There was a lot of big tents, which is where shows and meet and greets happen, and they had to justify the tents somehow. So they make it a fair where there would be tents. And it's also, we talked about Minnie Moo. There were cows running around with Mickey ears on them, and there was a more rustic feel, I think, to Mickey's Starland anyway. So I feel like fair is the way they justified it and tied it all together.
Right.
Yeah, they had this big sign. Mickey's got a straw boater on, and and you would meet Mickey too. Like, I was surprised to find, I really didn't remember this. Mickey's house in Florida has now been bulldozed.
Oh my gosh, so cold the way you delivered that.
Bulldozer. We know it was a bulldozer.
Paved paradise to put up a mermaid ride. So they
imploded Mickey's house in Florida. There was nothing left.
They imploded Mickey's Mar-a-Lago to put up a mine trade ride.
They should have called it Mickey's Mar-a-Lago.
Right? But you met Mickey at the judge's tent. You could walk through his house, but you would meet him at the judge's tent for the fair in Florida.
The judge's tent.
Yeah, here's a picture. You met him at the judge's tent. He's giving out blue ribbons.
Meet Mickey in the judge's tent, and he still has the straw hat. Or what'd you call the hat? It's not just a straw hat.
Oh, a straw boater.
Straw boater.
Boater. Yeah, that's that kind of hat.
That's the sort of like Dapper Dan turn of the century. That's that snazzy hat from 100 years ago.
Back,
you own one, Jason?
I have a crappy like Halloween Town one I bought for a bit once. Bought for like a UCB show once.
Okay, but it's not wearing it regularly. Do you think when we come out of this pandemic that maybe you could get finally like fully like just dress in character 24/7 and wear that, or I've acquired some pieces. Maybe that's another one. Maybe that's interesting. You're thinking about this. You're thinking about like a post-pandemic kind of reinvention identity.
It's going to be the roaring 20s. That's what everyone's saying when we come out of quarantine. So we're all going to have a lot of fun.
We're going to all have boaters. We're all gonna be wearing boaters for gosh sake.
For gosh sake.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm looking at prices on boaters. You don't have to spend an arm and a leg. You can get a decent boater seemingly for less than 20, but you could also have some very luxurious boaters for more in the 60 range. And Gucci sells a boater for $470. So if you really want to greet the new world in the most dapper way, get that Gucci straw boater. Gucci boater.
Wow, Gucci boater. I think that's. We got to get you a Gucci. There's got to be like a discount Gucci boater we can get Jason, or like from an outlet mall, a Gucci outlet. That has to exist, right?
There's like at least on Alibaba or Shine or something, a knockoff Gucci boater. That sounds great.
Huh. Interesting. There's I'm looking. There's a Ralph Lauren boater straw hat as well.
But this is this is high end. I didn't realize how relevant straw boaters were.
Yeah, which I hate to crowbar a little tease for something I want to do, but there's a character called Polo Bear that's a Ralph Lauren mascot that I'm very intrigued by. That's all I'll say. Google Polo Bear and take a look at the pictures. That's all I'll tease.
That's right. Yeah. We can get to Polo Bear.
And I've got a different bear that I have ideas for. So
is it Ted?
Huh? Oh, no, unfortunately. No, it's the Sleepy Time Bear.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. We do an episode about the Sleepy Time Bear. Absolutely.
We got a lot. I got to do some work on that. I got to do some legwork on that.
These two are like the end of WandaVision episode 5. Oh, my God. Look, oh my gosh. Who showed up? Look who showed up. Polo Bear and the bear on the box of tea. Holy crap. Mind blown. Exploded.
On either side of Jason, all of them wearing straw boaters. All of those straw boater expendables.
Even if Scott hadn't started talking about disgusting condoms, I think he would still not want your mom to listen to this, because straw boater obviously doesn't. This keeps sounding to me like straw boner. Let's be
Well,
honest.
I
thought
think
that
it's
at all.
okay.
It's not
she
obvious.
knows what a straw hat is. Back in the day, you had to wear. You were disgusting. You were like a sleaze if you weren't wearing a hat when you were out in public.
That's true. That's fair.
And if you didn't take it off when you went inside, you were also a sleaze. A lot of rules in the past. A lot of very tiring rules. Hat rules.
Yeah.
Who cares about any of that? Why were there these rules? Mickey's Toontown Fair became the way that you could meet Mickey in Disney World. Started with this birthday land construct. I'm not sure where to begin with all this. What I realized is that Mickey's Toontown all grew out of the core idea of we need a committed place where you can and will meet Mickey. I think meeting Mickey is always a part of the Disneyland experience, but I think he'd just be wandering around. And you'd sort of have to try to catch him if you could. And big lines would form, but it was a little unruly, and people needed the Mickey photo. So we have to standardize this. There's got to be a place and a line, and I think that's where Toontown in general came from.
Right. I think this has been sort of a push-pull, two competing ideas, and a set of people like each of them. It's with characters as far as in-park meeting of characters. You want to know where to meet a character. If you're coming into Disneyland once a year, you want to meet Mickey. You want to know where he's going to be because your little kid or your adult son, your man in his 30s wants to take a photo with Mickey. He just needs to know where it is. That being said, it is so fun to happen upon a character. That's one of the best things. You turn a corner and Captain Hook's walking down. That makes the whole thing feel so much more fun and alive. Like the one time the stormtroopers harassed us in line at Star Tours. That stuff is fantastic. But yes, Toontown, I think, solved a problem for them of just this is where Mickey's going to be. You can meet him here. He's always going to be here.
You will be able to meet him. And in a bunch of rooms, they have many ways to meet. There's not just one Mickey waiting at the end. There's a bunch of rooms that you could end up in. So you will meet him.
And the demand is there because they also in Disneyland almost always have Mickey photo ops when you walk right into the park, right?
On Main Street. Yeah, they're always hanging out.
So Mickey is so in demand, they have multiple permanent spots, I think, to meet him.
Yeah. Now, in Florida, after they bulldozed his house, you can meet him at the Town Square Theater at his magician job.
Yes, Mickey is a magician. We've gone over a little bit of this before. We went over to me complaining that Mickey didn't talk to me when we were in Florida because I knew there was a talking Mickey head that was not apparently advertised. And I got a fast pass from Town Hall, and I had to ask if Mickey was feeling talkative to the employee, which I was fine doing. Honestly, I didn't feel any shame at all.
But that you had to wait in the complaint line. Everybody's there because they have some problem. The spaghetti at Tony's was too cold. And then you said Mickey is not talkative.
I said, I saw online that Mickey talks to people. There's a head that talks and it blinks. And when we went in there, it didn't talk or blink. And they were like, okay, well, it's not all... Because I can't tell it was not officially endorsed. It was not endorsed. It was not officially advertised. It was still testing, so they couldn't acknowledge what I said was true. They couldn't verify my reality. So they just said, well, we can give you another fast pass, and if Mickey's feeling more talkative, maybe you just ask one of the employees there, and they can point you in the right direction. And I went, I see.
Which this mythology is pretty insane, where you can always meet Mickey, but sometimes he's not gonna talk to you. Sometimes, he'll wave and everything, but he's no words will be exchanged. If there was a famous person who had this policy, who did let you meet him, but it's probably not gonna speak to you or look you in the eye.
If Ringo's famous video was no more, I will not talk to you when I meet you. You can meet me and I'll do it, but I won't say a word. Peace and love, peace and love. Yeah, they stopped this head. This head is out of commission. The talking Mickey head is not working. It's before pandemic. They pulled it out of circulation.
They bulldozed it. They bulldozed the head.
They put the head on the ground and ran a bulldozer over the talking head. And this head, they were testing out more of these heads in California Adventure very briefly in the Grizzly Peak area. They had like maybe a mini that also did this, and then they've just been missing in action. The head must have become sentient, and it was just too much to deal with. Like
bit
it was
somebody.
It bit somebody. It just started having a mind of its own. Like, don't leave me here. I'm so lonely at night in this shelf. Don't do it. And they just had to put it out of its misery because it could feel feelings now.
This isn't Mickey talking to you. It's the head. I sound like this, but I'm not Mickey. I go by my code number R14X2BC.
Please bulldoze me. I don't want to live like this. Please.
I don't even know a god. I just know my number. I can't even worship anything like you people take comfort in.
Someone puts me on their head and walks around with me. It's very invasive.
I just want to have a first kiss and then die.
Set me up with another one of those heads. Let us smack lips and then bulldoze us both.
Yeah, so I mean, they had to get rid of it.
Yeah,
pretty clear.
That was a problem. Yeah, that was an audio recording we just played.
Yeah, that's completely accurate.
Yeah, machine learning can be really difficult in this day and age.
Quickly.
Yeah.
For the most part, you just go, for many, many years, it's been the tradition. You just meet sort of a pantomime Mickey who waves and hugs and smiles and gives you all the thoughts that can be done in a mime-like setting. Do you guys have fond memories in general of this from throughout your lives, of meeting Mickey Mouse? Is this an important part of the park experience to you?
Yes. Well, here's what's interesting is my memory of meeting characters, and I'm sure I'm repeating myself. I was always a little nervous. I was always a little scared because your brain, you were like, I'm sure my mom was like, they're not actually the characters, but you'd still be kind of fool. Like you still didn't know. I met the Ninja Turtles at a grocery store when I was 4 or 5, and they signed my box of cookies. And I remember like kind of hiding in an aisle and like looking at them and being like, they don't look exactly like the Turtles look, but that still might be them. I'm not sure. So my memory of this is that I was very scared of the characters, but I intrigued and I liked them. But I found a photo, or my mom found a photo of me at like 5 or 6 giving Mickey the biggest hug at Disney World.
Hey.
So I wonder if it was like a flip switch thing and I don't have a big memory of this hug, but I remember I bet I was nervous at first, and then once I was like, I'm going in, I'm doing it. And I gave Mickey a big hug. So obviously I was way into it. I had the autograph book, which we've talked about before.
Oh yeah.
Which was very exciting to get all the characters' autographs. So yeah, this was a big deal. I loved meeting the characters, obviously, whether I was scared or not. And to this day, I still like meeting the characters.
I feel like you do it the most of us, is my, if I had to ballpark it.
Maybe it's possible. I found Jason and I right before pandemic. We were at Universal, or maybe it was a little bit before, and we met. Jason and I have a picture with Dora the Explorer, and maybe somebody else from that day.
I think so. Did we get a Minion too?
Maybe we have a Minion as well.
There was one where they were meeting at night, but in front of an illuminated store window, and where everything is totally in silhouette. And I was like, why did they do that? Why did they make that decision?
Yeah. It was not a well-lit photo. So I'm trying to, if I analyze what it is at this point, I'd like to think, it's funny, right? To see this older guy with the characters. That's why you're doing it, right? It's so funny. That's got to be it. But probably it's not. It's probably just like, this is actually Mickey and I get to take a photo with him. That's probably what it is.
Do you sort of like black out when you do it? Like you sort of, for that second, I am with Mickey Mouse?
Yeah. Yes, I think that's probably what it. I mean, trying to think. Yeah, I have a lot of photos recently. It's when we did the Thanksgiving at Disneyland, we have photos with everybody, Chip and Dale and the Country Bears.
Yes, they packed that banquet hall. Like there were every corner there was character photo opportunities.
Oh my god! And then when I was walking through Tomorrowland and I saw the Country Bears like partying at the stage, listening to music, and I ran up to them. Or when we were at we went to the Disneyland 80s night, and Lindsay and I were there, and a guest friend of the show, Doug Jones, also there. We were just hanging with Minnie and the characters in the pit.
Dang, in the pit? Like the Aerosmith? Your eventual Aerosmith dream?
Yeah, at the Deuces Are Wild Las Vegas residency. So when we were we have photos with them then. I have a video of Lindsay dancing with Minnie in the pit.
Minnie was just hanging out, like, and Minnie's like pretty cool and down to earth. Like, doesn't even act like she's Minnie or whatever.
Very down to earth. She'll dance with anybody. But she's a little more comfortable probably dancing with an adult woman than an adult man, and I don't blame her. I didn't try to dance with Minnie. Although I do think she Minnie did do a little of that flirting thing that she does with me once in a while. I have video proof of it also. I'm going to sound crazy here, but I have video proof of it.
All right.
Well, this is, again, like, how is it possible that multiple Minnies on multiple coasts that, like, just, there's just something about, but, and I hate to burst your bubble, but they are not Minnie Mouse. They're different people in Minnie Mouse costume, but you felt multiple times a vibe from Minnies.
It's sort of the same vibe, I feel, depending on what coast. I don't think did any Japanese Minnies hit? I don't think I had an interaction with a Minnie in Japan, though, at the Tokyo at Disney Park, but I can't remember. It's possible. If it was a Minnie talking head, I'm sure that the robot would have fallen in love with me immediately.
Oh, Michael. Can we do Minnie? We haven't established a Minnie.
Yeah, I don't think we have.
Yeah, how would that? I can't even go there.
That Scott, your Minnie sound a little like olive oil, a little like Shelley Duvall olive oil.
Oh, save me, Michael!
Oh, Michael! It's just like Minnie. It's just Mickey, but more like this.
But more worry. Well, I'm doing Edith Bunker is what I'm doing.
Oh yeah, that's
sure, yeah. My big character memories, the one that both my parents always tell the story is like when they first took me to Disney World. And I'm sure I've told this on the show before, but I was terrified of everything. I was scared of the rides. I was scared of the characters. And then we were on Main Street, I think, or by Tomorrowland, and right at that moment, Chip and Dale came out of a side door, and I like pushed my parents away and ran to them and hugged them. And they said after that, I was fine with the characters. Like everything was fine.
My parents.
Adult memory when I was older. What?
My real parents.
My real parents.
You're my parents now.
My guys. When I went to Disneyland for the first time, a college friend was visiting with us. A few of us were out here doing internships, and one friend was just visiting for a few days. And we were going to Disneyland, and they said the only thing I want to do is go to Mickey's house and meet them, get the photo taken. Wow. And so, like, all right, that was not a big request. So, like, after lunch, we went. You go through the house. At the very end, we all got our pictures, and it was super fun. I did not remember the impossible architecture that the Mickey's house in Anaheim has, where it's like, well, technically you are still indoors, but you've gone out of Mickey's house, and now you are going into a barn and a screening room, and it's a rare instance of Disney doing inside that represents outside, but it's daytime. Like that, I did not remember until I watched through a bunch of video tours.
You go through his yard, and it is even also now we talked about Toontown Fair is more like country folksy, but in Anaheim he's raising animals, he's raising chickens. There's a big farm component of it too.
Well, they both have the movie barns, or some reference to the movie barns, which is a nod to like Walt making early animation in his barn. Mm-hmm. So but yeah, it kind of the Anaheim one, Disneyland has like a full screening room component. Yeah.
The Anaheim one's very extensive. Scott, do real quick your love of mascots.
I feel like it's never been like a primary thing. I know, like when I went to Disney World, I got so many. I filled up that autograph book, and I have a really specific memory of King Louis trying to convey to me that he did not have opposable fingers and could not sign an autograph, and him like trying to point at my mom and show his hands, and it's a sort of hard thing to convey, and she got it. Oh, okay. I guess I'm still disappointed in a way. They didn't figure out if multiple characters did not have opposable fingers, so they'd give you a stamp. There's sometimes characters had stamps. Right. So I guess I really cared about that autograph book and was very proud of it. And I've said at some point that eventually Jay Leno signed that autograph book, which I got to track down. And he signed it with a little like his signature. I'm sure you could find that on eBay or on Headshots or whatever. Has a little like squiggle of his face, the big chin. So that's a good one to have. Very much like the Disney characters would do, or maybe they try to add some flair or put their shape in it. So that autograph book is a very cherished item. Have I ever talked on the show about when I met who's the cat in Pinocchio?
Figaro.
Figaro?
The mean cat. the one trying to lead him the wrong direction.
Oh, yeah, they have. Yeah, what are those? There's
like a fox bags. And then a cat. Didn't we met one of these on one of those Star Wars days? I want to say the three of us.
Yes,
we're very surprised to see him. Like you're around here.
We lit up when we saw these cats.
Because he was wandering around. He was wandering around by Fantasyland.
One's like a fox
just
and
to be
one's
taking a break. Yeah.
Okay. One's like a fox and one's a cat, right?
Gideon.
Okay, Gideon. All right. So yeah, there was just something where like Gideon's thing was to like mess around with kids and do a little horseplay and clown around. And there was a scenario arranged where I was sitting and then he came and sat on me. And my parents laughed and laughed, and it was funny to take pictures of, but I was having trouble conveying it actually hurt. He was too he was too heavy. This is one of my first, this might be like as soon as I came in the door the first time I ever went to Disneyland, I was sat on to where it made maybe it was like I was a little like winded. I think it like took the air out of my chest a little. I was little. I was like 3 or 4. So maybe I guess that's I don't know, kind of a scarring memory a little bit. I was like hurt by a character immediately.
Gideon sat on Scott.
Gideon sat on me.
Wow, is it past the statute of limitations to sue Disney for this?
Oh, wait, you're right.
Probably is.
But is it different rules for tunes? If they're subject to a different set of laws, then...
What are the laws in Toontown about this, about lawsuits? I mean, you will have to go try. Judge Mickey will have to preside over the court in this.
You're getting the dip. Oh no,
me? I'm getting it.
Yeah.
What, you give it to a kid?
Yeah.
Tunes protect tunes. It's just the way it goes, pal.
So we get 100 tunes together, and it takes 67 of them to convict, and frankly, I don't think the numbers are on your side, bud.
I mean, yeah, he's guilty. We know he's guilty. We know what he did. It was shameful that he did it. That being said, I'm not going to vote to convict him.
Look, Gideon is a son of a bitch. He's been sitting on children for years. He's had rhetoric about sitting for as long as I can remember. Politically, I can't do it.
The jury is wailing on each other with any number of mallets and Acme branded products. I'm not going to try to get them back in order, so my decision is final.
You're going to let them work it out. I'm going to try.
Have you seen the storyboards of the funeral sequence that was cut from Roger Rabbit, by the way?
Oh, I've heard about this. Wait, yeah, a bunch of extra tunes were at a funeral of Acme?
Yes,
who
of
died?
Acme. And like the pallbearers were going to start fighting each other. It was going to be like like Popeye and Pluto and like an assortment of like even more crossovers. Like,
wow, really?
It's just so, yeah, it looks awesome.
The
King
story
feature Syndicate characters in Roger Rabbit?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. I'd
Wow.
be so excited by that.
Dagwood. Finally, Mickey and Dagwood will meet.
Well, Dagwood would have been catering. Everyone sadly like did the giant sandwiches that they have to push down to regular sandwich size, and they eat it all in one bite. But everyone's weeping as they try to eat the sandwich with the fish tails sticking out the sandwich.
The tears splashing off fish tails.
Greetings, mortals. I am the Lord thy God, King of the universe, creator of space. We don't need the vocal effects. Can we lose that?
That's my actual voice. Okay, great. Hello, I am the Lord thy God, King of the universe, creator of space and time, or as I prefer to be known these days, at the tweet of God. For over a decade, I've entertained my over 6.2 million followers with my wit, misanthropy, and oft-stated regret I created any and all of you. Well, now I'm taking my hilarious blend of contempt and disgust from the Twitterverse to the podcast verse with my new show, the predictably named Godcast, premiering Wednesday, January 27th on Forever Dog. On Godcast, I'll be opening up my infinite mind about everything from politics to the nature of reality to this week's point spreads to how much longer I'll save the Queen to that weird new growth on your neck. I'll answer prayers, take spiritual phone calls, surprise people with live eternal damnations, justify the platypus, and even explain the Bible, which is not at all easy to do. Plus, every episode, I'll be interviewing a guest, either alive, like Stephen Colbert, Zooey Deschanel, and Lin-Manuel Miranda, or dead, like Moses, Amelia Earhart, and Lizzie Borden. Joining me for it all will be my adorable sidekick, the 18 to 34 demo appealing Joan of Arc.
Hi, God.
Hi, Joan. You excited for the show?
Sure am. Hey, could you put me out now?
Not now, maybe soon.
Sounds great.
New episodes of Godcast will premiere every Wednesday, so be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Or you can, and will, go to hell. Godcast, from the creator of At the Tweet of God, and everything else.
Godcast is brought to you by NetSuite, the world's #1 cloud business system.
Hey, this is Gabe Gonzalez, and I host the brand new podcast, Queerty.
And this is Alex Berg, and I host the brand new podcast, LGBTQ Nation.
Two brand new podcasts made lovingly just for you.
On Thursdays, I sit down with the best LGBTQ journalists, activists, and politicians to discuss the most pressing topics in the community.
And on Fridays, I end each messy week right by sitting down with the funniest, smartest, and sexiest people in the world to talk pop culture, entertainment, news, and more.
LGBTQ Nation and Queerty, politics, and pop culture.
On Thursdays, you cry. On Fridays, you laugh.
No, it's not all sad. We have some good news on Thursdays.
Okay, like, what am I talking about? These days, you can cry every day of the week.
Listen to both shows and get to know everything you need to know.
You're already holding your phone, so subscribe to Queerty and LGBTQ Nation today on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Only on Forever Dog.
So let's talk about like the actual play. I think maybe as a base, the Toontown House, which is also in Japan, where it's like it ends up being it essentially is like a queue to meet Mickey at the end, but it is a queue where you go through his house first. There's a lot of fun stuff in the house. I think I was looking at details and remembering stuff I enjoyed. I like that. First of all, I mean, it's the important thing to say. It's like if you've never done it and been in there, but you know the vibe of Toontown. It is it's just fun to walk around. It's like everything's super bendy and cartoony. They just did a good job, I think, with all those props, which is sort of in contrast with a different Mickey's house that we'll discuss. But it's just such a fun house effect. I love right when you walk in that there's like the closet under the stairs where he shoved in all of his miscellaneous sports and vacation gear. There's like a tennis racket and a fishing pole and, all those odds and ends that you have that collect, and they're all bursting at the seams and the door is busting out in a big bulgy way.
Can you confirm which one specifically are you talking about?
I was talking about Disneyland, which is also Tokyo Disneyland.
Oh,
Right.
okay. Is Disneyland the one that has, I really like the stairs. It has the dog gate that there's a Pluto-shaped hole in it.
Yeah, that he bursts through.
That's a great detail. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
I just wrote down Mickey's lumpy house. Because the house is like that cartoon style, but everything's very lumpy. It's very exaggerated, and stuff is like more bulbous than it would be normally. I like Mickey has a mailbox with his face on it.
Oh yeah,
also.
I like that a lot. Yeah, absolutely.
Also in Anaheim, you can see. I have it right here. You can see Mickey's grotesque car.
Yeah, his lumpy car.
His lumpy car. They're going along with the Toontown aesthetic, but there are some more successful than the others. Some of the stuff more successful, and this, I don't know why this car rubs me the wrong way so much, but it looks horrific to me.
It's hard to drive. It's got to be super hard to drive, and it's really sputtery. You know that it takes him 2 hours to get anywhere.
Yeah. It's all very Roger Rabbit like style. All of Toontown as well. I mean, it obviously fits in with all the cartoons and stuff, but it's very much like that looks like the taxi.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is something I really like, that that there's that sheen of Roger Rabbit even on the non-Roger Rabbit universe stuff. Like I was saying, I think it was like, okay, we want a concerted place where you can definitely meet Mickey, and around the same time they're trying to do the Hollywood Land area, which would have had a bunch of Roger Rabbit stuff, and then that got canceled and downsized in the wake of Euro Disney collapse. So it was like, okay, can we just kind of like combine ideas? Can we do, here's where you meet the classic characters, but also there's Roger Rabbit stuff. And I think the way they justified that is, here's downtown, here's the city, and then 50 feet away is where the characters live, which it's very convenient to live in Toontown. You're just a quick walk away from... Mickey's a quick walk away from the city hall, where, important note, he resides as mayor. Don't forget that he is also, in addition to being a movie star and filming movies in his barn, he is also the mayor of the city he lives in.
Right, and that's got to be permanent. That's not something we can put Jason up for. I mean, I know we haven't talked about it in a long time, but, we want Jason to become the mayor of Disneyland. That's a long-term goal, but I don't think it's ever going to be possible for you to be the mayor of Toontown.
It's clearly a lifetime appointment, and I'm not. It's really dicey politics in Toontown. It's like Chicago. It's like your stomping grounds, Mike. Chicago. Some really dicey, long time entrenched forces there.
Of course,
there's a cartoon Emmanuel, the other Emmanuel, who is a toon.
Yes,
Hubert Emmanuel runs things with a lumpy grip.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting when they open up the Runaway Railway in Toontown, because that's the different art. That's the new modern Mickey art style. So
that's true. I hadn't thought about that.
Transition somehow from the Roger Rabbit style to the new psychotic Mickey style that the new cartoons have.
I think they should work with the people at Marvel and figure that out, because I think that's fun sometimes when there's an X-Men member, or there's an X-Men team with all right, this guy's from the past, this one's from an alternate reality, this one's regular, and and it's just it's just the way it is. Sorry, gang.
Yeah, there'll be some sort of device when you enter the queue, maybe.
Yeah.
That takes you into the new grosser world of Mickey Mouse. And I say this I love those new cartoons. It's funny how they let him be gross and weird.
Yeah. Well, he's got more of a character, definitely. When I was with this gosh thing I was saying at the beginning, I just in looking into some Mickey things, that was my big takeaway. He says gosh so much, and I think gosh is kind of that's what the old Mickey persona is and was. He says gosh in a scared way because something might hurt him, like Pete the cat, or he'll say
Gideon.
gosh or Gideon. Yeah, Gideon could always sit on him. Or he says gosh in a like humbled, he's like amazed by things, like, oh gosh, his like he's proud of his achievements and his standing as the mayor and of everything, his accomplishments at Disneyland.
Right. But the character, the character is different. I feel like the Mickey of Toontown is that humble Mickey who would just get like overwhelmed a little bit, but he was like a real solid, nice guy. He didn't freak out too much. The new Mickey is like very neurotic, very freaked out, prone to having like anxiety attacks.
Mm-hmm.
He's impulsive, reactionary.
Gets really manic. He's
manic,
like
yes.
all over the place.
So it's interesting. We'll see if what they'll do. We'll see if there'll be any. Maybe the answer is nothing. If the answer is I'm putting too much thought into this.
I think it might be Chuck E. Cheese rules where there's as many as 5 Chuck E. Cheeses in a single location at all times.
Right. There's like one bowler hat Chuck E. Cheese costume somewhere in the back room, but then it's like the new skateboarding, guitar playing Chuck E. Cheese on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Although maybe there's no, because we're hearing this, they're taking the stage characters out, so they're few and far between, I think, at this point.
Well, they're a ghost kitchen operation at this point. That's
true.
The point of Chuck E. Cheese. There's no characters. There's no games. They're gonna move into Buca de Beppo, just like Guy Fieri, soon enough. You enjoy that experience? We talked about there's a tweet about this that Guy Fieri and Robert Earl, the owner we talked about, the owner of Buca de Beppo, they've teamed up, and he's leasing space out in his less and less used Buca de Beppo kitchens, including the one at City Walk.
Well, they had a relationship already because Robert Earl is like one of the money backers for Chicken Guy. And that was the main reason. I had read an article about this, about he was opening these ghost kitchens. And I was like, wait, does that include the City Walk one? And I looked it up and it was on Postmates. So Jane and I ordered it. Overall, there's a lot of fine print. I almost tweeted this as a follow-up, but I was like, this will inevitably come up on the show. You can't customize anything. So sauce squad, there's no sauce selections. You get whatever sauce comes on it.
That's crazy to me. Anyway, go ahead.
I know. The Chicken Guy sandwich is still pretty good. I took a big swing. I tried the burger topped with mac and cheese, and I am still feeling it. I
had a feeling you would be.
Yeah. The worst part was that they put lettuce tomato on it too, and that went on top of the mac and cheese, and that is a weird combination. The lettuce,
that doesn't work. That's strange.
And it kind of made the bacon soft too. It all tasted pretty good, but I have not eaten big portions like that usually during quarantine. I think when I cook for myself, even when we get takeout, I don't eat Fieri style portions. So stick to the chicken sandwich. The fries, I would, if you like kind of like double fried fries or fries that are battered a little so they're extra crispy, they're a pretty good version of those. That's my roundup about it. So stick to the Chicken Guy sandwich. That's the long lesson. They also offer this terrible cheesecake that Mike and I had in Vegas once. You can get that delivered to your home.
You're talking about Guy's Cheesecake Challenge?
Yes.
Yeah, we did take the challenge on.
Not his best work.
We're lost. Will we still be able? When Buca de Beppo opens fully for dining, will we be able to be like order from the secret menu and like wink at them and get a Chicken Guy in Buca de Beppo?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. It's a brave new world that you can get, Chicken Guy delivered to your home if you are near a participating Buca de Beppo. The Encino one.
Did you just call it Beppo?
I just heard that Peppo or that
Did
P.
I say the Beppo? I spell checked the Beppo multiple times. I kept going to the website to make sure I spelled it right for the tweet, and now I knew I messed it up.
You're not going to get that by us.
No. Any slip up, we will definitely say it. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine.
That's right. Okay, back to Mickey's house. There's anything else that we like in the house that's fun? You really see a great number of details. You see his laundry room. You see a big assortment of what he's washing his clothes with, which is just fun little gags to look at. Like 408.5. There's fun little names to all those.
Yeah, there's I understand why they did it, but it has some implications for Mickey's world. All of Mickey's chairs are hard. They're all solid and hard to sit on.
Yeah.
So let's just extrapolate this. Mickey sits on hard chairs. He owns hard chairs. None of them are soft.
What do you want a chair to be like in his house?
I want it to be cushy. I want it to be something you could relax in, and not just like a slab of whatever that is. You know,
that would,
kids are going to be in. I get it. The Imagineers wanted to spare like kids spilling ice cream or.
I can't have fabric.
Ice cream.
Mr. Jason spilling ice cream.
Yeah, after one day, that chair would be like a toxic waste. That chair would be just unmanageable.
Right, but now it is canon that Mickey is some bizarre character who doesn't like sitting on soft things. This is now canon. We know it.
You think that's
part of his world?
Canon. Okay. I'll buy that. I'll go with you on that. I like the second floor that you can see from his. There's an implied second floor between the stairs and the first room you go into. There's like a balcony.
Oh.
Yes. You can see a little bit of it on the video, the walkthrough. There's a good like 2017 walkthrough that I was watching.
Yeah.
I am disappointed you can't go upstairs.
Sure.
I would like to see everything up there. But I
you want to
get
know
it.
if the bed is hard. Well, it seems like the bed in Florida appears to be rock hard.
The bed is, of course, rock hard. It would have to be rock hard. There would be
Mickey's
no way.
Rock hard bed.
Yeah. It would be rock hard because that's just what he likes. That's canon now.
Could it be
weird,
that is how we in the 3 dimensions process this? Maybe it's soft to him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Interesting. So since we're not of that world, we feel the way our molecules mix with the molecules of the chair or the bed, it makes it feel hard. Yeah. But the molecules of a Mickey or any other tune, it makes the chair soft. I see. It's possible. Look, it's possible.
Like it might bend and bounce as soon as you lay down on it. You know, it would squish for him because he's squishy.
Because if 2 squishy things meet and then squishiness happens, but humans aren't squishy. Mm-hmm. So if a hard human meets a hard chair, then it's just...
It all stays rock hard.
Rock hard. The chair's rock hard.
Yeah.
And your spine gets hurt.
Unless you're squishy.
Yeah, okay, we solved it.
This is all being played as evidence somewhere in several years from now. They left behind these deviant edgelords hour after hour.
These men said this episode was the one the parents could listen to. Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
Mr. Gairdner, will you reread your own words from 2021? Mickey's bed is rock hard. Exactly. I rest my case.
I am an edgelord. Other edgelords aren't cool. I'm making edgelords cool again. Am I supposed to be embarrassed by this? What's the problem? This trial is out of order.
No further questions, Your Honor.
You see, there's books on his shelf that you can see. You can see Moby Duck. You can see Cheese and Peace. Cheese and Peace is very long, just like War and Peace.
That's right. You can see Mickey's baby book. You can see he has dolls of himself and Minnie. Mm-hmm. And he's got a picture of Daddy Walt.
They were staying bizarre again. You saying Daddy? Do you think Mickey calls him Daddy?
Yes.
Yeah.
This has never been. You're pulling things into canon, but you've just established out of nowhere that Mickey calls Walt Daddy.
Daddy. Hey, Daddy.
Oh gosh, Daddy.
Right. I didn't even mean it to be that creepy, but I think that's, what would he call him? Father? father?
I don't know that he's his dad or anything.
He is his dad.
It's Walt.
Well, what else would he be?
If
He
only-
created him.
If only he didn't love cigarettes more than me.
Iron Man calls Stan Lee his father, his daddy.
Oh, God.
What?
Did that happen somewhere?
I don't think so, but maybe. Maybe
Iron Man has a very conflicted relationship with his father, with the other Stark.
Scott, all your characters that you've created over the years, you know what they call you.
You mean so me too with my aforementioned videos?
Yeah, all those characters, your Moonbeam City characters, you're their daddy.
So Chrysalis Tate calls me daddy. The
That's
the
right.
Juggalo character, Crazy Thug Nuts, calls me daddy.
Yep.
That's correct. Yeah, nothing weird about it. Just a fact.
I don't know if I was supposed to say any of that. Crazy Thug Gosh. Keep it G-rated. Keep it
okay.
Gosh rated. And I will try to not think about that. All of these characters are somewhere.
They're all somewhere.
Yeah. The Moonbeam City is now available, by the way, or will be available, I believe, on Paramount Plus. And as we know from the Super Bowl, Paramount Plus takes place on top of a mountain, on top of Mount Paramount, where James Corden and Beavis and Butthead and Dora the Explorer hang out. So they're up there too. Even though
Eyeing each other. Food ran out weeks ago. Who looks the most delicious?
Oh, God damn it. SpongeBob is going to eat Dazzle Novak.
Oh, man.
There's these characters nobody cares about. Eat the one seasoners first.
You gotta warn them.
They're weird.
Yeah.
They call that guy Daddy all the time. Thousands dead on Mount Paramount. James Corden, the last to go. James Corden ate them all. Thousands
The World
of
War
cartoon
Z
characters.
zombies turning on themselves.
Oh, the humanity.
There's maybe something to talk about just before we get too far, and something I don't want to miss in this episode and devote some time to. And that is this. Toontown is where all of the characters live, and they all have houses that kind of reflect them and their style. Even Mickey's house is a little bit yellowish. It sort of like looks like colors he would wear. Donald's boat looks like him. Goofy's bounce house even looks like it. So, all right. So all the characters are there. They have their little characteristic houses. Of course, you got Minnie's house as well. Minnie, a separate house. Mickey and Minnie live in separate houses next door to each other. Interesting, noteworthy. Is this the way that couples should be more often? We go beyond just the separate beds into that you have separate little houses, but right next door to each other for easy visitation.
Mm-hmm. Mickey and Minnie are lovers, but not married.
I think that is the canon, yes.
Yes. And it's not like Duffy and Shelley May, who have, there's just a platonic love, a perfect love, but it is nothing, there's no sexual connotation to it at all. Mickey and Minnie's love, I think, is sexual in some way. But I don't think they're together. So it would make sense. Maybe they just live on the same street. That's when they first met each other because of just proximity, which is how so many of us meet our partners. It's just we're by them at work, at play, at school, whatever. That's how that happens. So I think it makes sense that they just sort of met. They happen to live near each other, and now they are together.
They were neighbors. They were among the 5 people who lived in this one neighborhood. They were the 2 mouses, the 2 mice who lived next door to each other. There's a lot of expectation that they would get together. Do you think that it's ultimately a little hollow? Are they paired up just because they're mice and they were the only mice in town?
It's possible. I mean, yeah, is it like they were together since they were in high school, and it was just sort of just perpetual motion is the reason they're together? Possibly. Now there's a tradition. I mean, now there's an expectation that they have to be together because they've been together for so long, and they're the faces of this giant company, and people would feel let down if that wasn't the case. So I think there's a lot of pressure on them in a lot of different ways to stay together. But they I think, they like their own space, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could arrange two little houses next door to each other, I could see the appeal in that. I don't want any distance from Aaron, but how awesome would it be to have two little houses? You'd still visit each other all the time. I just think that's hard to arrange. I think one house is tough enough, let alone. But I mean, this seems like more like what happens in like your leisure worlds, your like elderly communities. People have just little pads, and they go visit each other. They hold hands and watch TV.
Right.
Or very eccentric rich people. Like the couple that I thought of that it's like, oh, they lived across the way from each other is not one to emulate because it was Woody and Mia. So,
okay, all right.
I'm sure there's some old Hollywood, like as like the golden age of Hollywood. More and more books came out over the years. You hear about weird like relationships. Like I don't, people always talk about Spencer Tracy and Hepburn, Katharine Hepburn, and but he never divorced his first wife. Like they had a very odd, kind of relationship. They had a professional one and then a romantic one, but it was very much a product of its time, where it's just like, well, I can't get a divorce,
They could.
So maybe Mickey and Minnie have a weird golden age of Hollywood, like sort of thing.
That's when they came to prominence. It makes sense.
Yeah.
They played by those rules, by weird 30s rules. So you think Mickey was quietly married to Clarabelle the whole time? Still is?
Still is, yeah. I think that's what Jason's implying. I think that's likely.
Yeah.
So it's a whole, I mean, who knows? Could Mickey and Minnie's love be sort of an arranged marriage type of a thing? Could it sort of just be for show at this point? And like Mickey and Minnie have other boyfriend and girlfriends. I mean, maybe I'm just saying like Minnie could maybe date. It's possible that she could have the ability to date and see other people.
If they aren't married, then she definitely does.
The tabloid version. This is the sanitized version of Mickey and Minnie, but like Bogart and Bacall was much rockier. It was much more chaotic than the popular culture remembers it.
I mean, I've talked to people and they've seen Minnie on Hinge. She's on there, so I don't know what the story is, but something's going on.
So if she were to, like, I don't know, get a little flirty with a random park guest repeatedly,
right?
I don't know. She could be looking for more.
It's possible. Yeah.
Never know.
That's what I'm hearing.
I found a bizarre bit of literature kind of about everything that we're referring to. I don't even remember the website anymore. They might not mind if I don't source them in this case. But this is just really strange. It's so cute that Mickey and Minnie Mouse built their houses next door to each other in Toontown. As far as the public knows, they have never been married. Although Walt Disney said, this might change everything. Walt Disney said in a 1933 interview that in private life, Mickey is married to Minnie.
Whoa.
That's from Walt. But they keep up their public persona by having their own places to live.
Whoa, wait a minute.
So this person's extrapolating from a Walt quote that it's actually the opposite of what we've all been saying, that they are married and that the separate houses are to keep the possibility open. A la, let's not say that John Lennon has a girlfriend because we need the girls to think they can get with him. Just like all girls want to know that maybe at the end of the day, they could still get with Mickey.
Wow. So what you're saying is that I've been led to believe a lie about Minnie and myself, and that Minnie's actually married and she's just been leading me on, and maybe hundreds to thousands of other park guests over the years, hundreds of thousands of park guests over the years, by making a loud smooch noise and rubbing her plastic snout into my head.
Well, yes, and it never came out because Mickey and Minnie clearly had something on Golden Age of Hollywood columnists, had a Hopper, who Helen Mirren, someone played her in Feud, Betty versus Jones. So maybe it was Walt. Maybe Walt had the dirt on her, and he's like, don't you ever print that Mickey and Minnie are married or I will ruin you.
Oh, this quote, yeah. Somebody might have, by this getting leaked, Walt said this to a reporter at a party. He'd had a couple of drinks and he let it slip, and then it got printed, and that reporter is no longer with us. He ended up in Toontown Lake.
Because as we've discussed before, Mickey, she's got a crush on you. You've been together for a while, and it's just a crush? That's it's a little weird. But if they're keeping up appearance, if they're, it's an act.
This is interesting because, I was very lucky and I got to go into Walt's apartment on Main Street.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 2 fold-out twin beds.
Oh, yeah.
One for Walt and one for his wife, Lillian.
Right.
But,
yes.
Adults slept in the same bed, wasn't like I Love Lucy. That's my understanding.
But apparently it was fashionable for a while. People thought for health reasons it was better to sleep in separate beds. The medical, studies on that were not quite clear. It did appear more chaste on TV.
Interesting. But I wonder if Walt was thinking, when people tour this for many years, I want them to think that Lillian and I were both single.
Yeah, because he's on TV too. He's in the same boat as Mickey. He's on. It's weird to think that Walt Disney was still on TV all the time. When the John Lennon thing I'm describing, John Lennon on Ed Sullivan, that's happening alongside Walt. And so, yeah, it's Beatlemania, but it's always Walt mania from the 40s on. The same girls screaming for the Beatles would also scream for Walt Disney. They want to go with him.
Did he have his wedding ring on when he was touring Imagineering on TV? We got to check.
Oh, I should say, yeah. When he's taking that tour guide around, with the hat and the little bull riding thing, whatever. What do you call it? The crop?
Riding crop?
Or the crop, yeah. I don't know. I gotta check. Yeah, Walt's gotta keep that dashing single image alive.
Yeah.
So,
they always talk about Uncle Walt. Do they talk about Aunt Lillian?
Auntie Lillian? I don't know.
Auntie
I've
Lillian?
never heard that.
Yeah.
He wasn't out there as much.
This is all
Hedda,
strange.
don't you dare print. Don't you dare print that. Judy Davis was the actor who played Hedda Hopper in the show.
Oh, right.
Terrific.
Right.
Terrific.
She's good, yeah. So strange. It's a false front. Because you won't think anything is weird. Oh, of course, this relation, they are not technically locked down because they just live next to each other in 2 separate houses.
Right.
So a completely normal thing. I was also wondering, is the last name a coincidence, or was her name not? Maybe she, Goofy, had no last name at all. She was Minnie with no maiden name, and then took his.
Are Donald and Daisy secretly married as well because they're both duck?
No, you just don't. There's just no representation of Daisy. She doesn't have a separate boat next to his, and she doesn't seem to have a room in there. I don't see any Daisy belongings in the boat.
There are photos of her on the boat.
Isn't there a Daisy's house at one of the parks?
There's. I know this. I've brought this up before in the Julio Torres stand-up special. He brings up that there is a door that says Daisy's house, and you just can't go in it.
Oh, I see.
And that's the representation.
She's a private person.
Yeah. She doesn't want people. Rightfully so. Thousands of people going into your house every day. I think it's odd that the characters. If we go back to the Toontown mythology, and we haven't talked a lot about Toontown, but the whole idea with Toontown is that what the Imagineers are selling to you is that it was always there. When Disneyland opened, he also got put in a little gated community for the characters to live so that they could be close and come out and say hi to everybody. So it's not just that, Toontown opened to the public in 1993, but it was always back there.
Right.
Yeah. So they've, I forget my original point with this. I think it's neat. I don't remember where I was going.
You were just going to say something shocking, probably, to try to...
Yeah, some edgelordy stuff.
I just...
that those houses existed, but the idea... It's in the 90s, they had to cut a new deal. Are you cool with we're going to open the gate here and people are going to flood into this house.
Right.
Like, so anything you don't want us to see, you got to hide now, like a gun, like your rock hard bed.
They had to get rid of a lot of different things in those places, probably, just so to make sure people would not be offended by whatever paraphernalia Mickey had lying around.
Mm-hmm. And so Daisy said no. Daisy was like, no dice. Nobody's coming into my house.
Yeah. F you. Gosh you. No one's coming in here. Not my Daisy voice. Yeah, so it's I'm trying to think. I was thinking like, who else house-wise do you want to go into? Like, what other characters in the Disney Parks house do you want to see? Like, if you could go into anyone's house, they have to be a theme park specific character. But like Indiana Jones is on the table since he's in a ride.
They have to be it can't be Disney characters, or it has to be Disney characters who are in the park.
I would say it has to be in park characters, and it would be sort of an adjacent thing to maybe where their ride or experience was. Like, would you want to see like where Chewie lives in Galaxy's Edge? What would be your number one? Because as a kid, I think I was very big on having like the play sets of toys where you would see characters live. Like I had the Ghostbusters firehouse, and I was like kind of upset that they didn't have their own beds in the firehouse. And I remember a babysitter one time made me like little napkins and was like, "Here, we'll make the beds for them." And I was like, "This is awesome. Yes, I do want to see where the Ghostbusters sleep." And then my mom threw them out immediately because she said it was a fire hazard.
There's a lot going on here. You wanted to see where the Ghostbusters sleep, first of all.
Yes, I did. I liked that. And then when I got the Ninja Turtle sewer, I liked the idea that I could like put the figures in like a lying down and have them sleep. I liked the idea that I could see where they lived.
You made little beds for the characters?
Yeah, well, the sewer didn't come with beds. None of these play sets came with beds, which bothered me because I was like, if this is where they live, I want to see their beds. So this babysitter made me little napkin beds for the Ghostbusters, which were thrown out immediately by my mother. But I'm saying like for whatever reason, I liked that idea. I think they made them feel more alive to me. I liked seeing like Michelangelo sleeping.
And this is the fireproof safe that Donatello made them all to store their Social Security cards and passports in.
Yes, I wanted to see what kind of safe Donatello would invent.
You wanted to know you could steal the turtles' identities if you so wanted to. Doesn't mean you will.
This is where Venkman and Spengler, this is the medicine cabinet where they keep their Centrum Silver because they're getting older, you know.
Mm-hmm. That's got to be in the new Ghostbusters, some sort of scene like that. Yeah, I think like I just like I like those Fantasyland rides, the dark rides a lot for kind of the similar reason. Like you got to go into the dwarf's house, you get to see, and there's TLC shows. You know, people are fascinated, I think, by seeing where other people live and when all the rooms in people's houses. And I think there's so many reality shows based on it. I have very little interest in seeing where human beings live.
Mm-hmm. Mike, I think people like those shows because they're usually like insane characters or like just wild people. I don't know that many people are like, oh, check out the bed. But check out the 90-Day Fiancé's like home office. But I'm
saying like House Hunters or the Flipper shows. Like we used to go to model homes all the time or open houses.
And we did that. Yeah, we did do that. Okay. I see what you're saying more.
There's a human being, I think, a psychological thing with like just wanting to see where other people are sleeping. I don't know what it is.
I don't think I have it. I don't think I know what you mean. Jason, does this resonate with you at all? That we got to see Egon's bed.
Well, I kind of like half because I see Mike's perspective. Because I would often worry about like, wait, so each X-Men has their own room and they're eating. Everyone's eating, right? Everyone's getting 8 hours of sleep.
Yes, you wanted the day-to-day, the machinations. You wanted to know.
I do. It's also like in movies and TV. I'm like, does anyone in this? Do they ever go to the bathroom? But I know now that like story wise, it's just not enough time to put that in. I think for House Hunters, and that sort of thing, or love it or list it, that is kind of aspirational. Like, is people like, oh, that would be a cool house. Maybe we could get a house like that, you know? I did read a while back that, you know, the reason open concept, like open living room into kitchen, is popular, like on those shows, is a lot because men, when they watch, keep the channel tuned in if there's demolition going on. So they often are demolishing walls to put rooms together. Like, that is, his like designers are not necessarily very fond of that. It's just like become popular because people see it on TV.
Yeah, we're forgetting also an example that is not currently on, but two examples: lifestyles of the rich and famous, but also cribs. People want to see famous people's houses. They want to see what it looks like. They want to see all the nooks and crannies. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's
okay.
I'm not.
There's
saying,
a voyeurism to it.
Yes.
Like, people want to see the lives of the rich and famous. Yeah.
But like you, I wanted to know. I wanted a schematic of the X-Men's mansion, and I wanted to know where Colossus slept. I wanted to know which room Beast slept in. I wanted to know all of that stuff, and I would have really appreciated like a comprehensive map. I think they have some maps like that.
Yeah, there are some maps. Yeah, for sure.
I've never had this desire about a character. I can think of no examples of wanting to see where somebody's bed was.
Now, you keep saying bed as if I'm meaning in a sexual. I take all the any sexualness out of this. This has nothing to do with that.
I'm not. I think it's just. But even regardless, I think there's like a privacy issue here. Like or like wanting that you're kind of this overseer. Like, and I tuck the turtles in and now they are down, and they're all right. They'll be up in 8 hours. Rest up, guys. A lot of good fighting today.
Great fighting, boys. When I was a kid, I had a like multi-year narrative with my stuffed animals where I would make up stories with them. Mm-hmm. And I remember this so vividly. I remember their like what the base I had created in their head, my head was for them. And I would like enjoy like, well, then Wile E. Coyote goes over here to sleep in his room. And then this character goes over here. Like, it was very organized in hindsight.
Wile E. Coyote has a room.
Yes.
He has he sleeps on a human bed and not just like on a rock or in a cave.
They lived in a base that was in a waterfall, is my memory. And I had like my Ernie doll, my Wile E. Coyote doll. I think maybe I had Sonic the Hedgehog in there. There were like a collection of 5 characters that I had teamed up like the Avengers. And I would like make up a story about them almost every night. And I remember this pretty vividly, and I could probably sketch out what the base looks like in my head of what the adventures they would go on to.
Well, the listeners are going to want to see that now. That's good ancillary content. All right, here is the waterfall. Here's like the square footage of the waterfall base where Ernie and Wile E. Coyote and Sonic the Hedgehog. There's where Sonic kept his rings. Here's Sonic's ring closet. And then and just make sure you do have like somebody. There's like the base is under renovation, and there's a lot of jackhammering going on, so our male listeners will not tune out when looking at the photos of the base.
We should retroactively put a lot of jackhammering sounds on this podcast just to keep people engaged.
For the boys, for the fellas.
For the fellas, yeah.
For the
lads.
For the lads.
You kind of share, I think, a sensibility with. I never go wrong if I end up in my little podcast research on Disney.fandom.com, which always has some odd bits of writing. And this I now I feel like maybe you wrote this. They break down the things in the house, the many rooms, most of which we haven't gotten to, and may not, just at the pace we're going. The places of interest, bedroom, where Mickey sleeps. Mm-hmm. Inside his room, you can see his black shoes he wears in the parks, as well as the famous suit and other clothes he wears in the parks. Also is a photo of Minnie and a very sloppy bed. Italicized.
Doesn't the bed fluctuate? I thought the one bed was clean and the other was sloppy. Regardless, The one closet is just the tux and tails like he wears in the parks, and that seems hard. That seems tiresome. He does not get the rest.
And he wears other clothes, you know?
He does wear other clothes. Yeah,
all the time. Yes, Mickey has many clothes. Also, just then the last one on the list, bathroom, where he bathes and does his grooming.
I also highlighted that section of places of interest.
All right, I did write
you as well.
I did write that. Yeah.
You edited out the other filth that people do in the bathroom. You don't want to hear about Mickey's waist.
I just want to know where my favorite characters go to the bathroom.
Yeah. I just want to see it.
Mickey and Minnie have separate toilets. They don't share because they have to keep up their public personas. So hers looks like her and has polka dots, and his is bright yellow with strips of red.
It's shaped like his face.
Mickey poops into his own face.
Mickey poops into his face.
Now at the 1 hour 45 mark or something, you said the phrase Mickey poops into his own face. And again, you ask the jury, do not think that anything is wrong.
I rest my case.
You or your work. Oh boy. I mean, I think this is where we knew things were going. Character. It's like finding out about their lives. We like this barn idea, this movie barn. I always liked how. So the premise here is that Mickey is set up. He doesn't necessarily want to go all the way up to Burbank to shoot the movies on the Disney lot. So they've set up a place where he can make things himself. So when you meet Mickey, he is in the middle of filming, and there's one of 4 little places where he could be filming. I want to say these are, if I remember, Fantasia is one, the Sorcerer's Apprentice scene. Mickey Through the Looking Glass is one. The band concert is one, which was what that one ride is based on. The Silly Symphony Swings, and Steamboat Willie, which I like because it's black and white. That's the one I wanted to get when I did this as a kid, and I don't think I did, because I like that the set is black and white and they make his clothes black and white as well. I thought that was clever.
Yes, that's I have tried. We've only done this a couple times, honestly. And I've never gotten that one. That one seems like the most fun to get.
Yeah. You can get on the boat and swing the ropes and stuff. But I like this idea in general. This whole I'll make the studio come to me. This is before podcasting. This is before Marin and the Garage. This is before Rogan moving to Texas. This is he was very industrious to I've made my money. They can come to me. I was talking to. Oh yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was talking to Robert Rodriguez. I looked around his setup down in Austin, and it's great. He doesn't have suits bothering him, breathing down his neck. That's what you want. Just the freedom.
You can get catering from Captain Kids every day, and it's right there.
Yeah, you should come out, check out the facility, shoot whatever you want. Yeah.
Let's just make something crazy, just for us, just to knock Hollywood on their asses.
I've been making a lot of experimental films in my garage too.
Nobody's gonna see them. It's just for me.
Yeah. You're not. No, I love this idea. Mickey's got a great idea, and he's got the money to make it happen. And he can work from home. Yeah, he's working from home. It's a better way of life, better quality of life.
It's great. Only being at home and doing all your work from home rules. I think we've all learned this.
Yeah, we love this. We love it. We love doing this on Zoom. It's not going back, by the way. I take back the Country Bear. I take back that Country Bear promise. It's going to be on Zoom. Sorry.
Wait, no. Yep. We're sticking to no.
I love Zoom now.
We have to do this.
I've turned the corner. You and Jason can get together. But
20-minute commute. Zoom. Save on the commute, save on the gas.
I feel like Jason's going to be on Zoom too, though, so.
We've all just gotten to, we're all just going to do it from bed now. All look at each other in our sloppy beds, our very sloppy beds.
I'm lying down. I put this on the ceiling, this backdrop on the ceiling. It's stuck to the ceiling, and I'm lying down.
And I don't want to explain it.
I don't want to explain how it works with the physics, but needless to say, I'm lying down.
Like a Toon House thing.
Yep.
Wow.
So yeah, Mickey doesn't have to commute. He was probably just producing through the pandemic. He was probably at no slowdown as far as his output.
Oh, sure.
Made a whole feature. Made a movie about lockdown. Because, like, you have to address it. You have to, like, it's an elephant in the room. And people want to see, like, my take on it.
People want to be reminded of this time for the next couple of years. I'm pretty confident of that. They want most of their art to reflect it. We don't want you to just forget. I like this. I like all of this stuff, too, because it's another sort of childhood fascination of corridors and secret areas and surprises when it comes to how, like, the idea of a mansion. We've said this before, I'm sure, with like a secret room or a secret this. Like going into Mickey's house the first time, whenever I did it, which is in my late 20s, I'm sure, it was like, oh, whoa, there's this and and this as well. Like, there's a real fun exploration aspect of it too, because you think you're just gonna see the basics, but no, all this stuff is this. There's discovery, is what I'm saying, which is fun.
The way it keeps going back and back, and I don't think I knew any of that. And I love that, like, it's kind of eerie, the backyard with the chickens. That glow is kind of strange, but it's a cool room. I was watching a walkthrough and like, man, I absolutely would like to go be in that room again. I really like those chickens. Those are some good, like, plasticky 90s animatronics. And there's a gag with carrots, like that a carrot disappears and a gopher pops up or something like that.
Yep.
That's all nice.
And Mickey's overalls are there, which looks like he left his butt in them.
Like, oh yeah. Or just kind of like permanently, they're stretched to a butt degree.
Yeah, and it says mouse kosh, right?
Mouse kosh. Like mouse kosh.
Like,
gosh. Yeah. Mouse gosh. Seat. So, we should have said seat, or we should have said gosh. Mouse kosh, bagosh.
So yeah, I like all this. All the detail is fun. And there's like a lot of stuff I missed. I wish I was like, oh, this would have been great to go and then like write everything down.
Mickey's to-do list. Mickey has a to-do list pinned up somewhere.
Oh, yeah. Is there anything interesting on there?
Well, he wakes up at 5 a.m. and he commits to being in the movie barn at 6:30 a.m.
Oh, God. This is demanding.
Kind of brutal. Water lawn, call Minnie, eat a balanced breakfast, play with Pluto, Mousercise. He makes time to Mousercise. Oh, it's really hard to build good habits. So, like, he seems committed, and I think paper to-do lists help me. I more than apps, I think. If I write it down, I'm a little more likely to get it done if I write it down on paper. So, I respect it.
I like that he writes with he writes like in the Disney font with all the swirls and the W's done in the swirly way and the I's are dotted and the D, which it's like, boy, it's insane to see an entire thing written that way. It's like seeing a big like Prince liner notes where there's so many 2's and 4's and U's. You really got to stare at it for a while to know what you're looking at.
That's how you know it's a great art. It's almost illegible when you see a whole page of it. Like the Springsteen, the copies of his like Darkness on the Edge of Town notebooks is chicken scratch. It is almost unreadable.
Because they're just like throwing it out. They're not taking time to make it look nice. So I mean, that's like, that I feel like is the most of what I have to say about, one more thing. I really like that little, so you get into the movie barn and you're waiting for the light to go on to tell you that you can go into one of the Mickey little stages. And there's this great, like montage of it's old trailers basically for what it's 30s 40s style old timey trailers for the things that he's shooting, mixed with all this interstitial stuff of Goofy and Donald working on the projector and like loading up the next clip, and Mickey shows up in it at one point. You know what I'm talking about? Like all this like their shadows in the projector and the cue there.
Yeah.
I like that so much. There's like really clever animation. Goofy has a fight with a hair that's stuck in the projector. Like the hair is jittering around and then it gets bigger and bigger and chases him around and Donald gets stuck. I really like it despite it. Like this is one of those things that made me a little scared as a kid, like projector hijinks. I was thinking of like watching Gremlins 2 recently. When we talked about that Gremlins ride, like, oh yeah, anything. Also, the big one, the from that Hitchcock thing in Florida, when the birds interrupt the projection, when there's a bunch of bird shadows. I found that I still find that kind of eerie and upsetting. Like that's, you just trust that a projector shouldn't go wrong. If any, that'll always get me. A scene where like the thing where something melts on purpose always freaks me out. Things are very wrong.
No, I think that all that Mickey stuff, like there's so much stuff you would easily miss, I think, just walking through here once, which is like any of the best stuff we always talk about is like you would want to like hang out and see, new stuff every time you go. And it's like, even, watching this video again, and I haven't been in there in a while, I go, oh yeah, this thing is packed with little jokes, packed with stuff. And it's like, it holds up,
Yeah.
all that stuff, I think.
It might be because of the projector, but it reminds me a lot of it was put in the same era as the Indiana Jones adventure, and therefore the Indiana Jones queue, which also just goes and goes and goes, and you lose sense of geography and where are you at this point, and what building am I in now? And it's so engaging, even though you haven't had the main experience yet. Just every bit of it's been interesting and exciting, and I don't know. They were firing on all cylinders. I think they made this a very cool experience.
You can feel the Eisner in it. That's what I think.
Yeah. I'm throwing money at stuff, attention to detail. Now, which is a little less the case with the Mickey's Birthday Land house, and we're winding down here, but I want to give a little time to this. Put in 1988. This was intended to be kind of this temporary land, and then it stuck around and got Toontownified and kind of unified with the one in California. But so it's Mickey's 60th birthday, I believe. So they did kind of like a little mini Toontown, like clearly like paving the way to Toontown, but a little less committed. And there is a Mickey's house, and it's kind of lumpy. It's not as lumpy, but a little bit lumpy. But the main thing is that you go in, and as opposed to the eventual Toontown version, it's pretty much just a regular house.
Yes.
And
I knew this. I couldn't have articulated exactly what was wrong, but I had seen the pictures of Toontown in California, and then I went into Mickey's Birthday Land, and what a disappointment.
But I love it now so much.
Sure.
Now it amuses me very much that this is the style of the house. And Mike, when you were talking about the chairs, about being disappointed by the hard chairs, I was staring at a photo that I had not seen. Look at this black and white photo of Mickey in his Florida house in a soft chair, in completely a grandpa's house, kind of like next to an unadorned fireplace. It's a plain room with nothing on the table, and he's reading the newspaper. He's reading the funny pages. Is it like a modified, like an especially cartoony Disney customized funny pages? No, I can see from the shapes he's reading Kathy. He's reading the regular comics.
They grabbed an Orlando Sentinel from Main Street.
Yes, just he's reading about like George Bush's recent policies. He's staying abreast on real world events. So I love this. I like the not fun, not cartoony, and I wonder like, was the idea to do, all right, well, Mickey's house, that's got to be a madhouse. That's got to be crazy. He's the craziest cartoon mind. We have to make it full of cartoon stuff. And then it got scaled back, and like, that's kind of just got to be a table. Or was it just like a lack of creativity from the beginning?
Yeah, that's a good question. My memory is that you couldn't get close to things either. Like they were like roped off.
They're blocked off. Well, by the end of By the time it was like Toontown Fair, it was a little more cartoony. Like they would add stuff.
That's when they put up like, here's like the fish that he caught up on the mantle, and it's a big cartoony fish. But even then, you couldn't go close to anything, I don't think.
you couldn't go close to anything because you didn't really. You could just. This was like a walkthrough because you would meet Mickey in the judge's tent. The weirdest element of this is the kitchen to me. Did you guys look at the kitchen?
Remind me.
Yeah, show us. Or unless you have it.
Well, the idea of the kitchen, I don't have it directly in front of me, is that it's a mess. There's like holes in the walls. There's paint everywhere because Donald and Goofy convinced Mickey to let them use his home for the kitchen remodeling contest for the fair.
Demonstration?
Yes.
There's going to be
that's
before
right.
and after
and there was
mini
a handwritten
kitchens?
note saying as much.
Oh, gosh. Somebody want to read the note? Somebody want to do a Mickey here?
Sure.
Yeah,
Let me
take
see
a
if I
mic.
can read it in the Disney. When you boys said you wanted to enter the home remodeling contest by making my kitchen look different, you weren't kidding. It sure looks different. All right.
All right.
Let's go.
And then it smears, and then it
Can't
gets
see what
smeary.
it says.
Huh.
This is Mickey scolding Donald and Goofy for messing up his house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
Weird.
there's paint everywhere. There's a hole in the wall. It's noticeable though that as you talk about just real stuff, the kitchen table and has just two folding chairs, like two regular ass folding chairs on it.
I love this. I love this weird, and I think something that I like about it is that it feels like how it felt to visit your grandpa or your grandma at the time. And I'll show you, like, here's how the kitchen looked, I think, before this this Goofy Donald gag. Like, this fruit lamp, and just here's some tea. It's not wacky stuff. It's just, I got my tea, my teacups and my cozies and my cookie and my radio. No, it's not like a boombox. It's like, no, it's an old, it's what you'd hear Glenn Miller on. I listen to my stories, and then the what's on top of the stove. It's just like these are products from the 20s. Like his sugar and his flour are like Mr. Henderson's old time goodness, molasses, in my spice rack, I have a little plant. I forget to water it though. It's so incredibly mundane. That sink, there's nothing fun going on with the sink.
No, it's just a sink. It's a sink with like an old time cloth. I don't know what you would even call it, like separating the under sink. There's not even a cabinet.
The red
Just
and
like a
white
cloth.
checkerboard, yeah, just like a tablecloth would be. Like he just has an old person's house, which I guess he's from the 30s. We were talking about him having these 30s dating ideals, but I got some hard candy. Get the little strawberries with the goo inside. You can have those. But tell me if you're not eating them anymore, because I don't. I buy those especially for you. So I'll save $2 a week if I don't have to buy them anymore.
I don't know what runts are or nerds are. That sounds too outrageous of a candy for me.
Those will get you hopped up. Just some Werther's. Just some Werther's originals.
I said I'd never drink Sanko, but it is good after dinner. It doesn't keep you awake,
Do you want your third meal of milk and cheese? Come on, you're a grown boy. You need that milk and cheese. I remember being so. I don't think I'm revising my own history. I remember being let down by not being able to go around and see stuff. And then either before or after seeing Toontown pictures and going, yes, that's right. This is not. Oh, I remember. Oh.
Well, look at the TV room. This is a room that you are cleaning up because the person has just passed away.
This looks, by the way, some of this stuff looks like Walt's apartment on Main Street.
Yeah.
It really
that's the
does.
idea. Yeah. So Mickey lives in a house that looks like it's the aesthetic and style of somebody who died in 1966.
Yes.
It's a little TV. Like, it would not even it's a circular screen. I don't think I knew there was such a thing, as it was just a little circle that it's like half the real estate of the box.
Original TV was just a circle. You just see one person's head, and that was it.
I just want to come home after a long day and watch the Dumont network on my little circle TV.
I watch Ozzy and Harriet, and I can't see both Ozzy and Harriet at the same time. I have to choose which one. I can only show one in the circle.
I heard tonight will feature Harriet's ear. Really excited to see what her ear looks like.
I have a painting of a bridge. I think the frame is just lovely. Just so ornate. It's like being in a museum.
I've been knitting a Christmas tree skirt for a while. I think it's coming together.
I do the prepackaged one. It's got the snow, but the white just caked on there permanently. I can't go to the lot every year. And the prices, oh my, oh gosh.
The old lady Mickey is pretty good. Is a pretty good character.
I'm glad you had illustrations, because I didn't go back this far. I am looking at like 2011 Toontown Fair House, and I'm like, when you first started talking about this, I was like, yeah, you guys are right. It looks real normal. And I think like I'm losing my mind. Staring at the big fish.
What do they mean? Yeah, I'm glad I'm illustrating it. It's a lot of fun. There's a big fish, but there's even like in the later house, he had like a crazy radio with a big smile, and there's eyes in the speakers. But in the original one, it's just a regular old radio, and he never from 1949.
Well, look, that's his country house. That's why they had to add that on at the end. It's his country house. You know, he didn't put all of his fun stuff in there. That was just sort of a getaway spot to be reminded of the simpler times.
Well, I guess it's like how you would rent a house, and it was like kind of all of somebody else's stuff. You know, like you go like a vacation home feels kind of stuck 20 years ago because people aren't living there all the time. Yeah, maybe that was the idea.
Do you think while Disneyland's been closed, Mickey's been renting it out as an Airbnb? Possible. I mean, I guess he has to live somewhere, but you never see him there when we're at Disneyland, so he's got to have another house.
Like, I'm worried about spreading the virus that way, but, you know, like, it's they're going to do what they're going to do, and, I'm not going anywhere near it for months, and I got to make that money, so...
Freedom of choice.
Mickey has been lying low in that Colorado town that was like, all right, everyone with a vacation home, get out. Stop coming here and spreading the virus.
He probably perfectly recreated that Florida Mickey house in Colorado somewhere. There's that old lady Mickey house in Colorado now. That's where he's been hanging.
Oh, yeah.
Until this whole thing blows over. He's hanging with Lauren. He's hanging with Paul Simon. They're all in Colorado. They were doing rapid tests. We're doing rapid tests. You know, we're feeling pretty safe. It's like in April,
right,
the rap.
I've gotten food poisoning from Shooter's Grill 3 times. Okay, can happen anywhere.
They've all been vaccinated since August somehow.
Oh yeah, the Bohemian Grove super site.
Yeah,
the Davos injection site. Yeah.
Are you going to tell me I didn't earn it? I've been entertaining people for, God, 100 years at this point? I mean, have I not paid my debts to you? Give me it first. De Niro gets it, then Mickey. Keith Richards.
More important.
I've publicly cast him down on the vaccine, but yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay.
It's, I don't really believe that. It was just kind of for the base. You got to play to what they want.
I'm just saying that the science isn't fully in yet. Meanwhile, I got it. So
then just before we wrap up, because I somehow this phrase has not been said, and I cannot resist the opportunity to talk about something that's come up on the show before. I was so happy that it became a successful call and response when we did a live show. But obviously my favorite part of the house is when Mickey needs to make a phone call. What does he do? I use the den. We've talked a bunch about the mundanity of the house, and maybe that gives you a greater picture of why I love this so much. This very flat phrase. It's just like, if I need to store a box, I use the attic. If I need to plug in Christmas lights, I use the outdoor outlet. There's no cartooniness or comedy contained in the phrase. My dad could say, if I need to make a call, I use the den. Don't have to change anything about the phrase. But I forget when I brought this up before, if I played the clip, and forgive me if I did, but I'm just going to do the whole context here. And sometimes people ask, what is this from? And I wanted to make sure I knew which one it was. We put the clip on our YouTube, but it's also the special it's from is the 1988 Walt Disney World 4th of July Spectacular. It's a general preview of Mickey's Birthday Land. The thing's hosted by Mark Summers. So if you see Mark Summers and not Regis, which is very rare, then you know you're in the right special. But let me because I like the den thing, but I love the other stuff very much too. So here's I think I shared the wrong screen. I got confused. Okay, there we go.
Boy, is there plenty to do here, like visiting my house. Want to take a peek? This is my living room. I love to play the piano in there.
Yeah, nothing.
It's a player piano.
Yeah, he's playing a player piano.
This is like the mini. How many lies, Mickey? The mini lies, the marriage lies, the player piano. Where does it?
We can see the scroll, Mickey.
Yeah, we can see the scroll. We know you're a cipher. We know you're an everyman on screen, but like you're living your life that way too. Come on, man.
Also, this Mickey voice.
This is like I'm Mickey. Hey, I'm Mickey Mouse. You recognize this voice, don't you?
There's so much to do. I use the den. I don't. I feel we've done a lot of Mickeys throughout this. We've been doing a Mickey voice this whole episode, and I don't feel great about I'm definitely no more than a C- in a regular Mickey Mouse voice, maybe even lower. I think I do a pretty good not right Mickey. I think when it comes to I think this would make for a great SNL audition, because you got to do the impressions. And if I said, okay, so this is Mickey Mouse, but not like the one from the cartoons, but like when they do a special and it was like not the right voice, is kind of off. Like, so anyway, here it is. Laura, I couldn't hear. I think Lauren laughed. I'm pretty sure he knew what I was talking about.
Marcy Klein laughed.
I heard Marcy.
But I don't know about, I think Lauren did.
If I have to make a telephone call, I use the den.
Yeah.
Anybody for a cheese sandwich?
I mean, that's good too.
Pleasant dreams, everybody.
that laugh? That's not even Mickey's.
Yeah.
You know the Mickey laugh?
Confused with Pee-wee, I think.
Yeah.
Anybody for a cheese sandwich? It's a little aggressive.
Cheese sandwich.
Like escape, trying to desperately, those words are trying to desperately escape from his mouth.
We need to make a call. I use the den. There's a pause as if a joke is coming or a pun or something. Nope. No. If I want to brighten the room up, I put in a plant. Just if a pipe breaks, I call a plumber. Because I don't want to, you could, watch a tutorial, but, rather just leave it to an expert. And I can afford it, obviously, so.
I guess cheese sandwich is isn't that cute? He's a mouse. He eats a cheese sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
There's that.
But he might also just be, just a bachelor would say that. Like somebody who doesn't live with somebody who knows how to cook. Cheese sandwich again.
When I'm hungry, I just take a big spoonful of peanut butter out of the jar.
The way Mike has always eaten.
No. That's only pandemic. That's only from the pandemic.
Come on, Mike. New behavior. Eat milk and cookies like a grown man.
Well, I didn't say it was any better.
That's a good point. Yes, yeah.
There's no moral superiority there.
I also want to keep playing because there's one more thing in this. After you go to the house, and we're not going to do Mickey's Birthday Land or Starland. Obviously, there's so much more to cover there. We will get to all that, but just I'm going to extend the clip into this other thing where Mickey, he'll explain it, but there was also a thing, I think called the Mouska Maze, that was like a little hedge maze you get lost in, and also there was little like water gags, and I just really like the way he narrates this. So when just kids are getting like little squirts of water in the face is what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Mouska Maze that kids can run through. Whoops again.
I just am laughing at these kids, like as if he's controlling the water himself. Whoops again.
He also knows what he's doing too.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear.
Yeah.
He's effing with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm goshing with them.
They like it. Come on, that's what they come here for.
It's fun. It's like he's got false teeth doing that or something. Like it's got fun. Like the voice is so strange.
They're still setting. I blast kids with the hose. Sometimes I sit out, but they like it. It's fun. The kids like to get wet, right? Whoops. Whoops again.
That's like I don't know if this is a rumor or this is fact, where they say like there's like 5 Mickey voices and they just like offer the amount of money they're willing to pay to the first one, and if that person turns it down, they go to the second one, and so on. I've heard that. I don't know if that's true. I assume it's somewhat true, and it feels like they got down to like the 8th Mickey voice. We're like, will you do this video for $50? And he's like, yeah, sign me up. I'm Mickey now.
That's just what he sounds like already. That's why he, like, at least he's not going to he's not going to sweat it. Like his voice is already very high.
Yeah. It's an old man who sounds like Mickey Mouse already, and he's willing.
What's going to happen? The union's going to get more mad at me? Not possible. I'm retired as it is.
I'll cross the picket line, whatever. I don't use the word scab. That's not my word. And when they ask me to show up somewhere, I do it.
That's called being a good worker and an employee.
Showing the studio some respect.
Well,
figure out who that voice is. We gotta figure out
I'd love to hear the name of who is the Den Mickey. And I think we've proven throughout this episode that if they need a 15th, 16th, and 17th string Mickey.
Oh yeah.
You know the 3 guys to call.
Mm-hmm.
Oh sure, yeah. If you need some punch up for Shanghai's, which was called Meet Mickey, I think it's now listed on the website as Selfie Spot with Mickey. Everything's a little different right now. You know, if you guys need something turned around fast,
selfies.
You know, we're around.
Before we go, or I guess we can do the wrap up, and then we'll before we go, I found a little tease for whenever we do Starland, I think.
Ooh, boy. Okay. Well, that's exciting. Well, let's get to it. You survived. It's gonna be really clipped. It's not even just a bad voice. It's like, you survived podcast the bride. You took a tour of my house. If you want to follow us on social media, check out Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you want to pay us $5 a month for bonus content, patreon.com/podcastthebride. It's more fun than a Dan.
It's like veering on Robin Leach almost in places.
I'm going to freak you out right now because I was mentally cutting this sort of for time. However, when I was looking up when I was just Googling Mickey's house, somehow I ran into something, and I don't know what it is, called Mickey's townhouse. There's Getty images of the man you just mentioned, Robin Leach, who you mentioned earlier. This is, I don't know what the context is, but this is from Getty Images. This is Robin Leach at something called Mickey's townhouse, and he is in front of a bunch of ceramic Minis and Goofies, and he is holding a Mickey-shaped cookie on a stick, drinking a glass of wine, and looking very demented.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
Yes, this is Joker-esque.
Wow.
here he's looking slightly crazier and shoving it into his mouth.
He definitely knows how to eat food. That's for sure.
I know how. No need to prove it. And then he's there now, like an eye is coming out of his head as he eats caviar out of the can.
Out of the can with a spoon. That is like, God, how much? That is a lot of caviar.
He looks crazy. He looks crazy in every photo.
This is bonkers. Yeah, I know. This is kookier than anything in Mickey's Birthday Land house. And I don't know what Mickey's townhouse is. I don't know why he's there, what this event could be. I tried to see if there were more photos that weren't of Robin Leach, and there weren't. I was half suspecting if I found more photos that Ghislaine would be in them.
Oh, no.
Whatever the hell this event was.
Well, we'll do a little more research and see if we can find
Mickey's townhouse coming soon, but Mickey's Starland also
I feel
coming
like this
soon.
isn't as good as that now. Okay, so
an insane Robin Leach.
An insane picture
Glad
of Robin
you brought
Leach.
him up.
So I was just like, looking through all this stuff, and there's a picture on, I think it's the D23 website. Yeah. There's Mickey's Starland. It's a picture from Starland, and Starland and all this stuff had like duck stuff, which I like. I do like that. Like
there's a little Duckburg. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, which is fun. But look at the car Mickey is in here.
It's less lumpy.
It's
less grotesque.
Lumpy. Yes. Yeah. But do you recognize this car?
I do, but I can't place it. Is it a toy?
It's Mickey's Happy Meal toy car.
Oh. Whoa.
I had this Mickey Happy Meal toy. Mickey has the car from the Happy Meal, which maybe it's from a different short or a movie or something that I'm forgetting. But this is very exciting. And I think where we didn't like the car before, I do really like this Birthday Land car. This Starland
I like
car.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a great photo. He's in driving another like old-timey thing he's doing. He's in a driving cap and a driving scarf.
Yes.
And he's like the smoke hitting two children who are dressed like him, like Pinocchio. What is up with these boys?
The first thing I thought I'd go, are they dressed like the two broke girls? They're in
the diner clothes.
They do look like the two broke girls in diner clothes. Yes.
The two broke little boys.
Two broke little boys. So anyway, I'm excited to do some of this for Starland whenever we get to it.
Oh boy.
I like the fact that there was a Happy Meal tie-in of some kind.
Yeah. Well, and we'll talk about the toys too. There's a lot to hit. Minnie's house, as with the characters, Mickey and Minnie's houses are segregated to their own episodes.
Of course,
to keep up their to show that they are not secretly married, which Walt drunkenly admitted.
Of course, and the Daisy Door episode will also be its own thing.
Full just about the
Daisy's door, yeah.
But for now, look forward to those, and to combine several topics in this episode. I'll say champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Bye, everybody. Ha ha.
Forever Dog.
This has been a Forever Dog production. Executive produced by Mike Carlson, Jason Sheridan, Scott Gairdner, Brett Boehm, Joe Cilio, and Alex Ramsey. For more original podcasts, please visit foreverdogpodcasts.com and subscribe to our shows on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Keep up with the latest Forever Dog news by following us on Twitter and Instagram @ForeverDogTeam and liking our page on Facebook.